What's going on, everyone? It's Moose here, Airguns of Michigan, and today we're going to be working on our FX impact again. This is actually my 35 caliber impact. You guys may have seen the other impact that's sitting right on the table in front of me. We did some work on that. We did the new pellet probe holder. I can't remember what the heck it's called. But today we're going to work on the Kraford and Lypt. This is the inverted safety. So it'll actually sit in the gun this way and then rotate back and forth this way. It makes it a little bit easier, in my opinion, to switch. I just kind of dig it. But you can see that both my regs are on 0. I did go ahead and prep the gun by removing the barrel. I only do that so that way I can put my gun on the bench. And then I did remove the bottle just to make sure that all the air was removed. So this is going to be relatively easy. It can be a little bit tricky, and we'll talk about that as we go on. You're going to need some kind of super lube or some synthetic grease. You're going to need a 2mm. You're going to need a 2.5mm. You're going to need a small pair of pliers, and then obviously you're going to need your Kraford and Lypt safety there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove our Picatinny mount, or bottom rail. This one happens to be a Kraford and Lypt Arca rail, but we're gonna have to. We don't necessarily have to, I don't think, but I'm going to anyway because it'll show in the demonstration a little bit better. And to be honest, I've never tried to do it without removing it. So with that being said, we're just going to get it out of the way. So, because we do have to have access to this trigger guard here. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use our 2mm, and we're going to remove this side plate here on the trigger assembly. Just make sure that you're working on some kind of mat, and you can keep track of all the parts that you have and things. This is the piece right here that we're going to be removing, and in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and remove our trigger assembly. There's a whole series of pins in here. We're looking for the one right here, and we're just going to reach in and grab it and pull it out. It's really simple to do. Our whole trigger mechanism is going to drop out the bottom. Be sure to keep an eye on this spring. You just want to make sure it doesn't go flying or we lose it somewhere along the way. We're going to need our 2mm here, and we're going to remove this screw. This is the screw that, as you guys can see right here, this is the screw where the safety actually is screwed into. And you'll also notice that these screws are all the same, so you don't necessarily need to worry about which way they go back in. I'm going to grab my 2.5, and I'm simply going to place my finger over this spring here with this little ball bearing in there, and I'm just simply going to push real lightly and just drop my stock safety right out the bottom. Now, one thing we're going to have to be careful of is this little ball bearing. Like, it just fell. That's okay. It'll fall inside the actual gun. Oh, there it is. It fell right through to the bottom. So the reason that I use the super lube is for this reason. There's our ball bearing. Here's our little spring. Trying to get those things back in place together is a really daunting task. So I just put a little bit of grease on the tip of my spring and just go ahead and touch the ball bearing to it. And now that grease will hold that ball bearing to the spring. Okay, everybody with me so far? So now what we've done is, in essence, I just dropped a pin. Good thing I have a magnet. Oh, there it is. I found it. Go ahead and put our pin back in. It just goes right there. Oops, I missed it. No big deal. does happen, but that's why we work in a clean environment. It was easy to see. There we go. Just drop that pin right back down in there. All right, so flipping this back over, we're going to take our Kraford and Lypt with the, if you can see that cutout, that's going to face the rear towards there. Now, we did pull our safety out in the fire position, so we're going to put it back in the fire position as well. Go ahead and flip our gun back over, and then I'm going to take my ball bearing and I'm going to insert it into the, let's see if you can see that. I'm going to insert it back into that track first, and then I'm going to take my Allen here, and I'm just going to help feed that spring back down into there. Hopefully everybody saw how I did that. I just basically pushed my ball bearing up against the safety and then just pushed the spring in with my thumb as well and just seated it back in there. We're going to go ahead and take our screw that we removed from the safety. We're going to go ahead and screw it back in. It doesn't have to be tight, just snug. Just a little snug. This next part gets a little bit tricky, only because we're trying to line up a bunch of little holes there on this pin setup right here. So you just kind of gotta eyeball it. Trying to keep my head out of the camera. Just kind of eyeball it, get it in there, and then like I said, it's a little tricky. It just doesn't always want to go straight back to its home. So we just kind of work with it, kind of keep an eye on it, and there it goes. And then we drove it right back to where it goes. All right, so now our trigger's back installed. Take our plate, set our plate back down on here, grab our 2 mil. Go ahead and put our first screw in, give it just a little bit of tension. And while you're in there, it's a good time if you guys want to polish and stuff like that. But there we have it. So fire and safe, and fire and safe. It'll take it just a couple of turns just to kind of loosen up, but there we go. So now nice and quick, safe, fire, safe, fire. You will notice there's a little bit of grease on there. It's because I do grease my my safety when I put it back in there. So there you have it, replacing your safety mechanism with the new Kraford and Lypt. Super fast, super easy, doesn't take a lot of time, and there you have it, easy peasy. If you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and we'll get you guys hooked up. So until next time, I'm Moose, this is Airguns of Michigan, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Please do me a favor too, like, subscribe, ring that bell.